Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would chat with you guys about one of the reasons I do like an upper-lower over any sort of push-pull leg or similar split. Because, I've told people that if you're only going to train a muscle once a week, push-pull leg does work just fine, right? It can work just fine from a programming end, but if we're really going to talk about efficiency, and especially if we're trying to train everything twice a week, the upper-lower really does make far more efficient use of our time. And a big part of that is the ability to superset opposing muscle groups, right? That's a massive, massive factor. Not so much maybe on the squats like you're seeing me do here, because, you don't want to do other stuff between your 10 rep sets of squats. But what about smaller muscles or machine exercises or whatever for lower? Yeah, absolutely. Right? If you could do a leg press or a belt squat or something like that and then do hamstrings between. And you know what? It's not going to interfere. It's not going to interfere. Plus, this also lets you, doing something like an upper lower, makes it easier to get a higher frequency of lower body lifts in. And we'll talk about upper in a minute. But I think that's one of the problems with a lot of traditional splits is that they're all upper body. And if we're trying to make real gains, your legs are the biggest muscles in your body. And people will come in and say, yeah, okay, but I need to work all these individual muscles in the upper, and then some of the upper body muscles are still getting trained 2 or 3 times a week, and the legs are only getting hitting once with whatever amount of volume they're doing. And if they're trying to squeeze all of it in, it may be almost too much to recover from, or just simply not that much lower body volume. And then they wonder why you get those memes of, oh, this guy skips leg day. It's because they only have a leg day and they have 3 or 4 upper body days. And if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, their legs are just simply understimulated. And again, they're the biggest muscles in the body. And it's not true that bigger muscles need more recovery. That's never been found to be true in the lab or in research. It doesn't even seem to be a factor as far as muscles being bigger for you needing more recovery time. They might tax the overall system a little more, but the muscles themselves, their size doesn't affect their recovery rate. Okay, and that has actually been looked at. There's no evidence for that. It's just a little theory people came up with. But when it comes to definitely the upper body stuff, I mean, if you're trying to squeeze a lot of upper body work in and get fairly high volumes to facilitate maximum recovery, just doing whole upper body sessions is a lot easier for allowing supersets. Because if you have, let's say, a push-pull legs, or say your chest and back are on different days, because it's the same if it's a bro split with chest and back on different days, or a push and a pull day, you see the problem? You're not going to be supersetting all that stuff. When the reality is, I mean, if our goal is to do a lot of work, like for me at the time of that I'm making this video, I do a set of pull-ups after every set of bench. So it goes bench, pull-up, rest, bench, pull-up, rest, bench, pull-up. I'm doing rows of some type after all my incline benching. What does this do for our workout economy and our work density? It makes it much higher. Plus, if you're in shape, it doesn't affect the recovery. People are like, but that's doing a lot of work between. Yes, but the evidence seems to appear that it doesn't impede recovery set to set at all. Because you are working opposing muscles, the muscles themselves are getting plenty of recovery. In other words, your pecs and triceps are recovering just fine while doing pull-ups or rows, because they're not being used to move the weight. Yes, they're moving. Yes, they're being stretched. Okay. The only downside might be if you're really out of shape, it can be hard, but it will actually help you get into shape to do it this way. Your conditioning and work capacity will go up, because now your heart rate realizes it doesn't get as much break, because you're doing twice as much work per minute. It might stay a little more elevated, but even if it didn't, even if you gave it sufficient time to come down, the total number of minutes and hours you have to spend in the gym to do the same sets of chest and back becomes lower. And you recover just fine in terms of the main muscles, right? They're not being worked, they're just being stretched a little bit, right? Your pecs and triceps get stretched a little, right? Of course they do, right? When you're near the top of a pull-up or a row, obviously your bicep is flexed, it just stretches the tricep. It just gets some blood flow, it just moves them around. They're just stabilizers. Okay, and stabilizers don't do that much work. Having strong stabilizers can help a lift, but they're not really getting real stimulus, you know. And keep that in mind. They're just stabilizing. And they're all being stretched. They're being stretched. So even let's say you're doing a leg press or one of your smaller movements, you do some hamstring curls between the hamstrings are being worked, but it's just stretching the quads. If anything, it is helping just get blood flow to those muscles between sets. They're not doing any real work. And you'll generally find that your performance will be fine. Like I take sets close to failure on the main exercise, and I'm not losing reps. A lot of times people complain, well, I can't do 3 sets of 10 hard because I'm running out of reps on the second or third set with the same weight. Yet, case in point, I'm not having those issues, even doing the supersets between. So not really that big of a deal. And it's the way I coach a lot of my lifters. I've been doing it this way a while. There's no real downside to it. It makes great use of your training. So the funny thing is, let's say you do all your pulling muscles on a separate day from your pushing muscles in the gym. You're literally having to spend a whole extra sessions dedicated to what you could have done at the same time. And again, pointing out there doesn't appear to be any negatives to it. And plenty of champions have trained this way who have been extremely jacked. There's no scientific evidence that it's a problem or interference. It's just a very effective way to train, right? It's very effective, very useful way to train. And if you're splitting stuff up differently to where the opposing muscles are not done on the same day, you could be getting your work done far more efficiently and actually get in better shape while doing it. So again, that's one of the reasons I like that. Now, people will say things like, well, I could do chest and back on the same day and then arms on there, but then you're over here doing arms on their own day. Unless you're going to do, I guess, shoulders on it. But then they're falling back to less leg work. I just personally feel like we can really make it efficient and get a lot more done with our gym time on upper lowers, while at the same time getting in better shape and getting our conditioning better. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.